I'm with Stefania Palma, who's the Asia editor of The Banker, and we're reviewing the Asian performance in the top 1,000 World Bank rankings. So, Stefania, how have the Asian banks fared this year?
So when we look at the Asia-Pacific ranking, which excludes China and Japan,
right.
The top Australian banks have dominated. So the top 4 banks are still Australian. What is interesting, though, is that the Indian banks have improved their performance. So now they moved from having 3 to 5 in the 5 banks in the top 25 for Asia-Pacific. And it's quite surprising considering that actually the Indian banking sector is going through a hard time at the moment.
Okay, but India has said that they want to improve their
Exactly.
banking position globally because they've always kind of punched below their weight, haven't they?
Yeah, but they do face considerable issues like non-performing assets that are increasing and also bad loans. And actually the Reserve Bank of India said they almost doubled since 2012.
Okay, now one country that's not underperforming and not punching below its weight is China.
Absolutely.
Okay, so China once again has this mammothly strong position in the rankings. I mean, give us a bit of a flavour of that.
I mean, their growth and performance has been phenomenal. ICBC is the top bank for both the top 1,000 globally and for the China ranking for the 3rd year in a row. And also China Construction Bank, again, is second both in the China and global ranking for the 2nd year in a row. I mean, their Tier 1 capital increase is humongous. So ICBC's, for example, increased year on year by almost 25%. And if you look at other countries, that is a humongous growth.
All right, so, I mean, China very much dominant, still powering ahead. I mean, how does that compare with Japan, which is obviously another huge economy in the region?
So Japan is basically almost a complete opposite, unfortunately. I mean, the banks, you sort of have the same top 25, more or less, holding the same positions. I mean, Mitsubishi is still number 1. Sumitomo Mitsui is still number 2. But, I mean, their Tier 1 capital growth is quite poor. Also in terms, when you look at pre-tax profits, Sumitomo's actually dropped by around 20% and Mitsui's by around 10%. And again, they really are facing a challenging environment. There's deflation that's been, a 2-decade-long basically issue. There's also an extremely strong stimulus package, which is actually dropping interest margins for banks.
Okay.
So it's really not an easy market for them.
Thanks for the update.